Welcome back to this week's episode. So I tried uploading that video podcast for you all, and it kept glitching. It did that like 15 times, I'm not exaggerating. So I'm going to take it like the universe wants me to talk about this topic instead today. And I think it's going to be I know it's going to be super beneficial for all of you. This past weekend, I was in a live class with other business owners. I got to teach them part of my Pinterest strategy, and also really talk about video marketing and social media in general. So it ended up evolving. It was a more intimate setting, and that's the beauty of being in an intimate type of class. So that scenario, and then also yesterday, it was my day off, right? It's Monday. I had a class. I had a 4-hour hands-on class to better my updo skills. That was for me. And I was exhausted. And today I've been doing different things behind the scenes and, sending out the new little mini class that I gifted everybody who went to the live class with me on Sunday, which was part of this whole collective thing. This community, and big shout out to Rocio. She invited me and shared me with her audience, and that was like, she paid for my fee to be there, so it was not something I did for free. So I really appreciate her acknowledging my expertise and also having me shared with her community. But having said that, I wanted to share this part for the episode. So do you ever lose the momentum of going in your business? Like, do you already how when you start dating somebody, you're like so excited, you're like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe like we're dating, I want to be all the time with you. And then like after a year or after a couple months or maybe a couple weeks for you, the sparkle goes away and you're like, okay, I need to like move on or whatever. It's just part of your everyday life. That can also happen in business, and it happens more often than we think about. And especially with social media, it's a tool for me. It's not my whole life. I have talked about it before in the episode. If you're new, welcome in, amiga, amigos, amigas. You're all welcome here. And I've talked about it before that one of my businesses is very heavy on SEO, search engine optimization. It has nothing to do with social. The other business is really heavy on social. So I have two type of different businesses, right? But the overall end goal is that you need to post. We need to be like sharing content. And something that came up consistently throughout the class that inspired this podcast episode, it's about the burnout. It's about being tired. It's about like, well, I'm not reaching my ideal client, or, I see everybody else growing, but how can I do it? Or, like, why isn't it working for me? Or sometimes our limiting beliefs that we have to have certain amount of followers, or that we only have to utilize social media. And maybe you are trying all the things. Maybe you've taken even courses that haven't worked for you. I have been there before too. I have, invested now at this point over $66,000 in my education. I do not take that very lightly. Not just in hair. A lot of that has been through also technology, learning different systems, also a lot of marketing, psychology, different type of things, to really make me a whole grounded business owner, not just for myself. And today I did want to share a really deep inside look into being more intentional behind the work that we share, and the importance of taking, here it comes, drum roll, social media breaks. Why it's so important for you. Some of the symptoms that you may find when you to kind of like self-analyze that it's time to take a break, how to do it in a nice way that you don't feel overwhelmed by it. Like, should you announce it to the world, how to actually do it, how I do it in my own business and what it has worked. Having been creating videos now, I started beauty school in 2016. I graduated in 2017. I really started diving more into social media in 2016. And I have been through so many ebbs and flows till I finally found what works for me. And as a mother of 3, as a multiple business owner, and also co-managing a business with my husband, he's in a different field. He's actually a tile contractor. As you can imagine, that's a lot of work. And I know it sounds like a lot. And I noticed that there's some tools that I utilize that a lot of people don't think about that you have free access to. So today we're going to be really diving deep into that. So, take a seat and let's get to this, okay? First, I'm going to share with you something that I don't think it should be gatekeep. I'm not about gatekeeping. I really open up in my classes. In my classes, you can ask me anything. There were questions that came up that had nothing to do with Pinterest. But I was more open and willing to answer and give you a straight up answer and be honest and open about my business. So always know that that's always an availability, and it's available to you for that. Okay. Now, my podcast, I always like to share tips and tools to help you, right? Real life tools that you can actually take action with. So let's first start with maybe social media is very primarily for you. And maybe right now you don't have 1,000 followers, you don't have 500 followers, you don't have 10,000 followers. So I really want to do this exercise with you. So I welcome you to go ahead, and you can do this after this episode, or, while you're listening to this, go check on your favorite social media tool that you love utilizing. You always have a number one. So which is the number one? I won't judge. It can be whichever platform it is on social. And I want you to see how many followers you have. Okay. So now you saw the number. And I want you to think about that every single person that follows you is an actual person. It's a person with a body for the most part. I know that sometimes there's bots, but most of them are people who are living, breathing human beings that have the potential of becoming a client for you. They are following you at this moment because there's something that you are giving them of value. And that is so important to gravitate. So first, let's acknowledge that you are doing freaking amazing. People are following you because you are giving some type of value for them. And sometimes we think, it's like how-to content. Please don't do that. Like, it's not just about your how-to content. Maybe it can be value of entertainment. Maybe it's value of knowledge. Maybe it's just value of, different helpful tips that you give in whatever your scope or industry is. I know this is a beauty professional and hairstylist episode and podcast, but I have been, and I thank you, a lot of business owners that are outside of our realm of the beauty industry listen to this episode and to this podcast, and I appreciate you as well. So this is for all of us. You are doing amazing, okay? You're doing amazing, so please acknowledge that. Now, having said that, now let's get to the real nitty-gritty. Okay, so you've taken courses, you've bought courses, and you're doing all the things, and nothing seems to work. And you're like, what is going on? You are feeling burned out. You are feeling tired of not having a real strategy behind things. So I want to give you this really helpful tips. Write this down, put it down in your notebook, come back to this episode, go back to 8 minutes and 17 seconds and listen to this again. Before you post, before you share a picture, before you give me a video, before you send me your PDF, before you send me your prices, what's in it for your client and why should they care? What's in it for them? We are human beings, okay? So I did research for this weekend's class, and I want to share a little bit of some of the research I found out. It's going to help you. It's going to really, I think this was like one of the ahas they had in there. They had so many ahas, which was beautiful and amazing. A lot of conversations are going on right now behind the scenes with them. So I just wanted to share one of the big takeaways that they had on there from so many that they did that they have shared with me. And it is that, did you know that according to Forbes, and this is in 2017, an August 2017 article, we get bombarded as a human being with 4,000 up to 10,000 ads a day. I'm going to say it again. We get 4 to 10,000 ads a day that we're exposed to in every single day. So now think as a customer, right? We're getting out of our business owner hat. I want you to think of all the ads that come into your head. Like, think about all the ads of the big companies that you think about. Maybe it's Ulta, right? Let me think what other ones come into my head. Sometimes it's the truck. I know that the Tundra truck for some reason. See, this is stuff I see all the time. Okay, so it's coming into my head. There's also like body shape wear. Yes, I know. I'm just telling you the ads that I'm seeing, right? So we're thinking about consumers. So I want you to go into your consumer shoes. You're not a hairstylist. You're not a beauty professional right now. You're not a business owner. You're going into your, I'm going to go shopping hat, or I'm going to go on my off day. How many ads are we bombarded with all the time? This is such an amazing exercise to come back to, because it can be really easy for us to get lost in our business mindset, or a business mind, right? Like we're a business owner hat. And sometimes we need to remember that we're also consumers, and our consumers, just like we feel like, man, there's so many ads, they're feeling the same way. So a lot of us are looking for value, and value comes in different ways, right? So what's in it for me as a human? That's what your client is thinking. And why should I care? So if I go to your page right now, and this is not to judge yourself, this is so you can improve it, okay? Because I'm giving you tools to help you. If I go to your page right now, can I see like what you do clearly? Can I understand what's in it for me? And does it show why should I care? So let me go ahead and share this company, which I think they do like a pretty good job on it. And it just happened something to be that I do invest a lot of money in. I invest over $1,000 a year in it. So here I'm letting you a little bit to my inside scoop about my spending habit. But I think they do it such a beautiful way that they utilize it, and it has worked for me. And I want to use this example to help all of us. So for a hydrofacial, there's this hydrofacial machine, and I've been utilizing it for years. I've seen its power since 2019. So I was pretty lucky. My sister happens to be an LVN now. Shout out to my sister Adele. She worked at a plastic surgeon's office, and that's where I got introduced first to the hydrofacial, and I saw its results. My skin looked plump and glowy, like a pretty, not sweaty glowy, but like a beautiful angelic glow. And I was like, what is this thing? I've noticed my skin texture started changing. Like there was so many benefits to it. And I could see all the junk because, the esthetician, Haley, shout out to her, she did a great job of showing me all the junk that came out after my hydrofacial. And I was like, wow, that's all my dead skin cells and all the nasty stuff on my skin. Like, this is amazing. Now, as you can imagine, that does not come cheap. So it was a little bit pricier. And then my esthetician started offering it as well. So it is like a pricier service. But the benefits of it has been amazing. So I continue to do so. It's a time where I get to sit in silence and I get to relax. I am not thinking about work or social or being a mom or being a human or being Celeste, or being a woman or a sister. I'm really seriously just like meditating during that time. It's tranquility. I also get a massage. It's just beautiful. It's a beautiful experience. So after hearing that experience, right, a couple years later, so J.Lo, I think last year, she came out with her own little she came out with, her skincare line, right? She has her own little hydrofacial serum. So she's promoting that as well now, and it's like becoming a more popular service when it wasn't so much years ago. Now, sharing that story about hydrofacial, I'm going to dive a little bit deeper because I think it's going to be a really good example, and I can actually share it from somebody who I do not do my hair, so I don't go to a hairstylist to get my hair dyed. I don't do waxing except for my eyebrows. I'm religious about that every 2 weeks. I don't have fake nails anymore. I have acrylics. I get my toes done sometimes. So I'm not very high maintenance, okay? So what would cost a not high maintenance woman to invest in this? What are the benefits? So today we're going to be with this exercise. I want you to listen and think about in your own business what you can do differently, okay? What's in it for them? So when I share my experience about the hydrofacial, this is what's in it for me as a client, which you can utilize. I told you that I get to relax. I get to be away from being all the priorities and worries and roles of being my human self, right? It's a space where I can meditate, where I can really relax. I see the benefits of the service I'm getting, not just in my skin, but also in my whole mental well-being. That's what's in it for me, right? Why should you care, right? So what costs me as a consumer? What causes your clients to even care to get that service done? So why should I care? So I'm telling you that it was really through referral how I ended up with the hydrofacial thing. My sister, right? She's a trusted resource, aka referral. That I know she worked at a plastic surgeon's office. She's very knowledgeable about this. I am a non-invasive person. I have no judgment against anybody. I just don't like needles. So I don't do anything that has to do with a needle. I love that I can see right away. It's an immediate result. I told you that the esthetician showed me all the nasty stuff that comes out of it the first time. That was what was in it for me. Why should I care? Because I can see the results. I cared because I saw the nasty stuff that came out of my skin. Why should I care? Is because I saw my plump skin and a difference it made in my skin. Why should I care? Because I get to not only renew my skin and try to keep it as young as possible, which is my face, without needles, right? Because I don't like using needles. Like, it just freaks me out. That's why I don't have any tattoos. So that's why I cared. That's what was in it for me as a consumer. And that's why Celeste is religious. Shout out to my esthetician, excuse me, Tiffany. That's why I'm religious to her. Like, okay, every once a month, she knows I come out like the blue moon. When I feel like it, it's like random. When she has an opening, I slide in there and she knows I'm in. But I do not miss my facial. Like, my facial is every month. Okay. Why should I care about getting a facial? Not just my beauty aesthetics. I'm just going to give you like a little glimpse. I won't say her business name because I didn't ask for her permission for this, but I know she's really cool. We have actually become friends now, but she also has a referral program which rewards me for going every month. That's why I care to go every month. So now after this beautiful example of the hydrofacial, that in even a little bit to inner look into my beauty routine that's outside of home, that's what happens with our social media, okay? And it can happen in simple ways, okay? So I'm going to continue with the hydrofacial example because I think it's so much more easier. You can look at it in your own thing. So they tell you the benefits. They show you results, right? So when they show a video, they're not showing me a video of the machine. Oh, freaking boring, right? What's in it for the client? There's nothing. That would be boring. Unless it's like a 1-second video of their machine, like I don't want to see it. But that's just me. I don't know. But I think I'm their ideal client. I go every month to somebody that uses their machine and their products. So clearly I am their target clientele. They are actually showing videos or pictures of before and afters, which for me doesn't work. But what does work is videos of the junk, of the stuff that came out, right? That works beautiful for me. Like, I love to see real tangible things real time. What works in there for their client, right? What's in it for their client is that over time, you start seeing the results. So they're being with integrity. And I did want to talk about that when we share our videos, our courses, our products and services. Let's be with integrity. It's so important. Even for me, I do a lot of hair repair treatments, like it's very major. I have a client coming in this week. Her hair is very damaged. I haven't seen her for years, but she wants to start going through the process with me of repairing her hair because she knows what I can do that. That is a luxury service, okay? That is a different thing that I specialize in. And even with that, I'm in integrity that I cannot make your hair grow magically. If it's really damaged, I'm gonna have to cut it off, and it's gonna be months of process, if not a whole year, before you start seeing real tangible results. You will feel the difference. You will see some type of difference the first time, but it's gonna take a couple of treatments to go over the overall process of healing and growing out a natural hair and learning how to take care of it right at home. Because for me, home care is also very important. I'm being with integrity. So I do want to share with you also that you can be in integrity and be super successful, and be very mindful of that. When you're sharing your videos, when you're sharing your pictures, give details. Like, you know how, like, even with bridal hairstyling, there's so many pictures sometimes where people don't share that they had extensions in it. A lot of stylists won't share that. Sometimes I won't if it's a client, a paying client, because they don't want people to know that they're wearing extensions, which is totally understandable. But like, for example, if I was using a mannequin, I'll tell you, hey, I put extensions in the darn mannequin. So, let's be realistic about expectations, right? So let's be really in integrity with all that we share. But I really hope that first part of the episode about why your client should care, what's in it for them, really helps you next time. Before you post that picture, before you share that story, before you share that video, what's in it for your client and why should they care? Okay, so next we're going to do into burnout. So what happens with burnout? How to treat it. We're humans, okay? Like, sometimes like things are going to be repetitive. I'm so freaking imperfect. Celeste is imperfect. OMG. And this is what happens, okay? I get sometimes like a little, I call it fatigue. I don't call it burnout, because if I was burned out, I would stop creating content. I get fatigued, or I'm just busy literally working in my business, making money. So I've been busy making money, taking care of my clients, taking care of my students. And, yesterday I had like I told you, an updo class. So this is some of the patterns that I've noticed, and I wanted to do this episode because when I notice it, it's more easier to share with you, like the feeling and what I have to pause and how it really feels and what really helps to take you from burnout or fatigue to be willing to take the social media break so that you can come back refreshed and keep going. When I start getting tired, I want to overpost. That happens to me. Or sometimes, like, it's really overposting. Like, that's the main thing. And I know it sounds weird because most people would be underposting, but for me, I overpost. And that can be really harming for my business, because my clientele, like my audience, doesn't like too much. Like, it's overwhelming for them, or it just gets boring, or it's just, they're distracted by a million other things. So that's when I start noticing if I'm overposting. I haven't posted in 5 days. My first post is already automatically being posted today at 11 because I'm officially on social media break. That's why I'm doing this podcast. So that's when I know I'm tired. I'm overposting. So that was already, that's one of my signs. I'm like, okay, Celeste, you're wanting to share too much. Girl, you're getting tired. Second of all is I start struggling with my captions. I start struggling with editing my videos, or I even like really start struggling with what to post, okay? Or even if you don't have social media, you utilize your website. Maybe you write a blog. Maybe you have a podcast and you're going to share an episode and you're drawing blanks. My creativity goes down the drain when I am fatigued, or I'm just having like too much social interaction or too much social media. I need a break. That's another like telltale sign for me that, Celeste, you need to get off. The other one is that I can't sleep. So I can overthink things, like I know if I would be willing to go to the doctor, I probably have some type of thing going on with me, but I don't want no diagnosis. I love myself. Even with anxiety, it's something that it's part of sometimes of life, but I don't want to say that I have it because I'm trying to live my life authentically and happily without labels of what I am or what I have, right? So having said that, I will sleep less. I've noticed that's a big thing for me. So look what triggers you. Like, look what the telltale signs. And it took a while for me to learn this. And this may sound weird, but there's something I do. I wrote it down in a journal when I started feeling tired or overwhelmed. And I would go back later when I was in a better mind, a couple days later or weeks later, and see what was triggering me. And I started noticing a pattern. And that's how I discovered my own patterns. So now I can be more proactive. And I want that for you too. I want you to be proactive once you know what triggers it or how you start feeling, right? Because for me, it's just a feeling. I force myself to take time off. And this is why. You're allowed to take time off. I take time off now 2 to 3 times a week for my social media channels. I'm going to share with you how. First, for social media, all of them have, most of them, yeah, I think it's almost all of them. Even Pinterest has it. You can pre-schedule your content. So I literally told you that I am scheduled already a post. This podcast will go live pretty soon, probably a little bit after that post is on Instagram. You can go check it out, Celeste the Stylist, about just behind the scenes about the class this weekend. That was pre-done, okay? So that's pre-scheduled. I'm not doing it. It's automatically going to share. And, I tag some people in there as well, so it's just like a whole thing, right? It's already taken care of. I don't have to worry about it. So I'm going to be on social media break. Now, I wanted to share that part with you because you're probably asking yourself, why would you post a post pre-scheduled that's going to be shared with everybody? And what if people like it? What if people messaged you? What if people comment on it? And you're not going to respond right away? Yes, I am not going to respond right away. You're allowed to be human. You're allowed to take time off. And I know they'll be there waiting. I know it'll be okay. I've been doing this now for years, and I want to invite you to be okay with that. Be okay with not being available all the time. Your energy is so valuable. Your presence, your knowledge is not just for people for the taking. And I really want to emphasize that. You may disagree with me, but as always with this episode, take what resonates, leave the rest behind. It's important that you take care of you. You cannot give to others, to your business, to your well-being, to yourself, to your loved ones, to your kids or partner, if you're not taking care of yourself first. So that was a very hard lesson for me because I am a recovering workaholic. I love working. Like if I could work all the time, I would. But I've learned that wasn't sustainable. It wasn't healthy. And that's really like a broke employee type of mindset, right? So it took me a while and it took me years to grow into my CEO mindset that my time is valuable, my knowledge is valuable, and my energy, I only have so much, right? So if I'm going to give it out, if I'm going to share it with somebody, I want it to be the best type of energy out there for them. So that's something that you can do, pre-schedule your posts. The other thing when you take a social media break, go do something else that you love. Maybe you are going to go to get a facial that day. For me, I don't do that all the time. It's just once a month. So what I'll do is usually I'll go on a walk. Walk relaxes me. So what relaxes you? Maybe it's reading a book. Get off digital. That's my other tip number 3 when you're on social media break. So although I'm recording this episode on my podcast, it's through my phone. It's pretty much through a note voice, so you can't see my face. I'm not recording video. I'm relaxed sitting in my bed, literally recording this episode. So it's a really relaxing experience, but I will not go on my laptop when I'm on social media break. I won't turn on the TV. I really try to take a break from electronics because it's stimulating and it kind of reminds me you need to get on your phone on social. So that has really helped. So think about different things that help you. So this is really important that you remember, you are so worth of taking time off. Part of being a CEO is that you don't have to do all the things. You don't have to be on all the time. You get to shut it off. And you will still be very abundant with it. And I really wanted to share that part in regards to being abundant. You need to allow and have flow to things, right? So I was making my new vision board, right, for my life and my business in class with with other other business owners that are there. I attended the class, and they were all filling up their boards, and I'm like, okay, I think this feels good. I think I'm done. But they kind of looked at me because my board had a lot of missing spots of white space. And they were, it kind of confused them, right? Because when we think about vision boards, they're stuck with stuff all over, and that's awesome. And I said this and it came out, and I was like, wow, I didn't know that I did that, because I always do that in my vision boards. I don't like them super full. And I'm like, I do that because I need to allow magic and abundance. I need room for magic, I said. And then when I came home and I looked at it again, I'm like, that's why I do it. It's because not solely just for room for magic or the life's, adventures, but also to allow abundance to come in. How can we allow our cup, our bank account, our hands to be full with something more and more abundance if we don't make the room for it? And most importantly, if we don't have room for it, right? And I think that's part of my magic, my own magic way of how I do vision boarding, is I always have room for magic. I always allow for the unknown to unfold and surprise me. I love surprises. That works for me. So having said that, even though my business and life, do it for the same thing with social. Allow for the magic to happen. You know how beautiful it is when like you are somewhere else and somebody like books an appointment. You're like, oh my gosh, I was on break. I didn't even notice. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful feeling. And the more that you are able to take time off and allow that, even though it's just 24 hours for me, it's amazing. I feel refreshed. I feel better. I feel re-energized to go back and be around my clients and be, if I want to decide to be on social. But it's not a full-time job. All those lies that we get fed, that we have to be on social media all the time and post all the time and do things all the time. That's not a life. We need to tap into, and this is not about genders, it is about like our energy. They call the feminine energy, which is really about dancing and going with the flow. And, like women, like think about like women, just like in general, like this is a generalization. I'm not saying everybody, because even your girl right here, she don't know how to cook. I do not know how to cook. But like you like to make things with your hands, right? Maybe it's cooking, maybe it's baking, maybe it's candle making, maybe it's making a blanket, maybe it's just dancing, all kinds of beautiful things. Give love with our hands and hugs and just the power of energy, whatever it is, right? We need to allow that room for that stuff too. But if we're always on the defensive that we are not attracting the right clients and we're not getting the right things, how are we going to attract the right clients for us? How are we going to be in the right energy space to hold space for others? So I did want to end with this. If you've made it up to this point, you're amazing. And because of that, you get the golden treat at the end. And it's to really say, if you're trying all the things and it's not working, take a step back. You probably already have, even if it's 1 client, 5 clients, 100 clients, 200 clients or more. Ask your clients or read their past emails, past for contact forms. What were they asking you? What were they needing from you? And utilize that as content, okay? So take that big takeaway. So for example, if I DM you and you have a cookie making business, okay? My daughter just had her birthday, so I'm thinking about cookies. So if you have a cookie making business and I want to order cookies from you, is it easy to do business with you, right? Like think about that. Maybe I asked you, hey, so what's the cost for a dozen cookies and are you available, right? Maybe then you would put it on your profile, for example, for social, that your, cookies, your dozen cookies start at X amount and, you're currently accepting orders for whatever month, right? For the month of July, right? Right now you're taking orders for your month of July. So that you can have less, track flow of people asking you the same question. And you can also make that a social media post. You can literally do like show like beautiful cookie sets that you've created, right? Of different photos through a carousel. And you say, my cookies start at X amount of dollars. So people know X amount and plus. So I know before I even reach out to you if you're in my price range or not. And you're attracting the right client just by doing that, okay? So let's start making this simpler. And remember, what's in it for your client? Why should they care? I hope this episode was super helpful for you. Thank you so much for connecting with me via DM at Celeste the Stylist, for being so awesome. And I will see you back here next week. Bye, love.